Hey guys, it's Justin again with another quick review. This is going to be a review for the Mecha Model Guide for Beginners by Mono Eye Press. This is a beginner's guide to basically how to build Gunpla and some basic kind of starting points, as well as some just other tidbits. From my understanding, the biggest reason behind this guide, or the biggest reason this guide exists, excuse me, is because a lot of people like to buy, these Hobby Japan magazines, myself included. I really like these. These are the Dengeki Hobbies. There's a couple other ones out there, I believe, but they all show these kind of like tutorials and stuff in them, and they show you how to achieve a certain look on your kits or how to do certain things. But if you don't speak Japanese, you don't really, you can't really get the full effect there. It's really easy to miss one or two things. It's easy to mess up a step, and you don't really know the full effect of what goes on because you can't read it. And for those of us who are English speakers and readers, that leaves us kind of in the dark. So this guide is it's kind of a starting point for people, and I think that this is a really good, it's a step in the right direction. It's laid out in a couple of different chapters, and it covers a lot of different techniques. But the ultimate reach here is to, I think it's a really great refresher. So even though I don't consider myself a beginner, I think it's a really good kind of reference book if there's something I'm not quite sure on, or maybe maybe I just want to brush up on basic techniques. This is a good place to start. It kind of covers the basics, and it covers them well. It covers lots of different techniques, and it also has a lot of random tidbits in here. It teaches you, well, for starters, it tells you all about the history of Gunpla and kind of Gundam in some respects, but it goes into how to identify tools, what tools are called, paints, what makes the paints up, things like that. And I actually learned a good bit about some of this stuff, different types of paints. I knew a lot of paints that I used, but I didn't know all of their properties and things like that, and this kind of does a really good job of breaking a lot of things down for you, so it's easier to understand why things act the way they do and why certain paints bond to certain paints the way that they do. It also kind of gives you an idea as to what order you should be putting paints in. But it goes from all that stuff straight into builds, and it starts with just a basic snap-fitted kit, essentially, with cleanup and panel lining, decals, and then it covers top coating, and then it goes into slightly more advanced techniques. I wouldn't say advanced, but you know what I mean, such as basic painting, very light weathering, simple mods you can do, as well as basic masking and stuff like that. And one of my favorite things about the book, besides excuse me, besides the how easy it is, it teaches you a lot of stuff, but the print is really nice and big. It's nice and bold. It's really easy to look at and read, and the pictures are really nice. Excuse me. It covers a lot of, like I said, a lot of basic techniques. It starts with a snap fit of an Exia, and it moves into a painted Phantom Blaze Zaku, and it shows seam removal, masking, painting, light weathering, like I said. An RX-78-2 with some simple mods to it, just enough to kind of get somebody who might not necessarily know what what they're getting into with the hobby, it's a really good starting point. It doesn't really overwhelm you, and it doesn't give you the same boring, monotonous stuff that some people just might not be interested in hearing. Because a lot of us put a lot more work into our kits now than we might have when we first started out. I remember my first kit when I got back into the hobby. I snapped it together in a rush, and I think I finished it in like an hour and a half. And I built a lot of parts wrong because I wasn't really paying attention. I was rushing, but you know, that was just the way it was. You know, I snapped it together, I panel lined it, and it was done. And I think that's the way that a lot of people should build kits, is they should start somewhere where there's not this great expectation. Because if you tell somebody that, you know, because a lot of people are going to look at a lot of kits that we build and a lot of kits that a lot of other people build, and they ask how long it took you to build it, and you go, well, you know, I spent 2 months, 3 months on this thing. They're going to be like, whoa, 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 I don't have that kind of time to devote to this. If you give them something and you show them that they can finish a kit, from, you know, go from start to finish in an afternoon or, you know, a day at max, I think that they're more likely to sit down and give the hobby a chance. Because if you told somebody that they're going to have to sit down, they're going to have to sand all these parts, they're going to have to do all this extra modification work, it doesn't make it sound like a fun thing. And you know, a lot of people I think are intimidated by this kind of hobby anyway, because you're cutting pieces out, you're putting pieces together, and there's so much fantastic work out there by a lot of great people. You know, a lot of people want to try and achieve or replicate that kind of look, and this is a good starting point for that. It shows you some of the basic techniques to kind of get you on your feet and decide whether or not this is the hobby for you. Like I said, it doesn't cover a lot of advanced stuff, which some people with a lot of knowledge might find a little disappointing, but it's a really good refresher course. I really, really, really recommend this thing for a couple of reasons. Like I've said a bunch of times already, it's a really good refreshing point, it's a really good reference guide, and it's a really good way to kind of look at things, or put things in perspective, I guess. Another thing is, there's nothing like this over here. There's no kind of English guide for us at all. So even if it's something that you don't think you yourself would take anything from, it's a great gift if you know somebody who's looking to get into the hobby. And the biggest reason probably of all is that based on the success of this book, I believe that there are additional books planned. I think that there's plans to do a intermediate book as well as an advanced book, and those will cover more in-depth techniques, and they'll have more content in them. They'll have better content. They'll have, you know, it's going to be a continual process. But this is just a starting point for Mono Eye Press. I think that they're just going to kind of feel their way through, and like I said, based on the success of this, hopefully, if this does well enough, they'll be able to go ahead and do another book, because I would love to see more of this kind of stuff over here, because the hobby is kind of niche still. It's definitely not as big as it is in Japan. I don't think it ever will be, but you know, it's available on Amazon print on demand. I think it was $24, $25. It's really not that expensive. It comes, it's a gloss cover and just matted pages, but they're really nicely printed. Like I said, nice big print. It's really easy to read. It's really easy to look at. You're getting 92, just over 92 pages if you count the covers and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a fantastic guide, so you guys should really go check it out. And if you don't want the print copy, it's also available as a digital download. I'll put links to both of those below, and you guys can check them out if you want. I'll also put a link to the Facebook page if you guys want to contact them in any way with any kind of questions, concerns, stuff like that. I know one of the guys who worked on the book, and I actually helped him kind of proofread through some of the stuff, and I helped him find errors and things like that, and I know that helped him out a lot. But yeah, so he'll probably even post comments and stuff down below. But he's a really cool guy, And like I said, if you have any questions or concerns, direct those to him at his Facebook page on there, and I'm sure he'll get back to you with any questions or anything like that. But anyway, that's all I got for this one. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.